When you're a YouTuber, there's a lot of behind the scenes work. And one of the people that does the behind the scenes work for one of my favorite YouTubers is Hayden. So tell us about yourself.
Hey man, yeah, my name's Hayden. I'm a producer for one of the biggest up and coming YouTube channels on YouTube, and like you said, I do a lot of the behind the scenes work. So anything when it comes to pre-production and coordination on site, making the impossible possible is kind of the tagline. So yeah, anything from figuring out how to rent out an entire jumbo jet for a shot all the way to getting them safe from being stranded in the Bermuda Triangle in 24 hours. So that's kind of my job. I do a lot of other stuff. I'm not just my work. So there's a bunch of other stuff that I'm into and that I'm passionate about. And but yeah, the work is the big thing right now because I'm putting a lot of energy and focus into making our channel as big as humanly possible.
Yeah. So what were you doing before you joined Airrack's team?
Yeah, so it's actually I recently graduated high school in 2020, and then COVID hit and everything. So I decided I was going to go to a university at Gonzaga University. It was going to be like 60 grand a year to go. It was all going to be online school. So I decided against it and instead went to a local community college. And kind of did that for a semester and just had some realizations of realizations of self of like, is this really what I want to do? I'm studying something that I'm like not too passionate about and that I don't really know.
What were you studying?
So I was studying business, entrepreneurship, and innovation, and I had the realization of like, I know all of these business people and entrepreneurs. I should just go work with them rather than study to become one. So I just started learning from them and getting mentored by them, and then ended up, I think in like November, I told my parents like, hey, I'm gonna take a year off and just figure it out. And by February, I was working with Eric. I moved out on my own and kind of like became a quote unquote adult. So that's kind of what I was doing before. But just did a semester of college and realized right now it's like not what I really want to be doing, and just decided to put that energy into helping others become highly successful on social media platforms.
Yeah. How did your parents react when you like?
Yeah, I think it was a mixed reaction. So my mom, she was supportive, but she was also like, you better know what you're doing, because you like, this is like it's a big time investment, right? So like taking a year to kind of energy into something else rather than just like focusing on college, let's say, it's like a big time thing. So she's like, just figure out a plan on what to do and go and do it to the best of your ability. My dad was kind of like hard set on me going to college, but again, he's like, was also incredibly supportive. But the reaction was just like, you better know what you're doing. We trust you to make your own decision, but we're going to highly encourage you to get an education because it's like, I mean, that's how they know how to become successful, right? Because they went to college and they became successful. So it's like the natural recipe to become successful is go to college and then get a degree and then, go on to get a job in whatever that field is. And so, yeah, they're incredibly supportive, but also like, they're my parents, they want what's best for me. So they're going to encourage me to do what they think is best. But it's not necessarily what's best for me all the time, so they're going to encourage one thing that they know is a roadmap to get me to a successful position. But now there's so many opportunities to become successful, especially like with social media and the internet and everything. So yeah,
are you going to go back?
All good intentions.
Are you going to go back or are you going to stay with what you're doing right now?
I don't know. Part of me really wants to go back. Like I'm at a college campus right now because I just met up with my friend. I'm at USC right now. And so I like to see the environment in the community. And part of me is like, I really want to be a part of, being like in a community of people who are like-minded, who are all working towards something similar. But I also realize that I already am kind of getting that with like YouTube and social media, that I'm in a community of people who are all working and driven for the same thing. So if I was to go back, I wouldn't be for business anymore. I'd probably go back for psychology, and to get like a psychology degree to become a therapist of some sort, just because like I love helping people and making sure people are okay and taken care of.
Yeah, that's definitely cool. I'm guessing it's like a tough decision to like go back because like I'm guessing what you do right now is so fun. So I'm guessing it's like hard.
Yeah, it's definitely a hard decision. I think more because like the work I do is so intoxicating. I just love it. I love working with creative people. I love helping creative people succeed. I just enjoy the process of working with people who are driven creatively, but also like business wise. Because I think like they're just like some of the most motivated people in the world. And I also love working with people of impact. So people who have a lot of eyes on them and are able to make large scale impact on the world around us. I just think like the future for creators is like becoming those like next helps the next generation of change makers, right? Like we see it already with YouTubers and social media people. Like they're the people getting hired to promote like political campaigns. They're the people getting hired to like tell people to vote. Like that doesn't make any sense, right? Like in 10 years ago, it's like that would make no sense. And then now,
it's like a common
people are
thing.
getting paid. Yeah, it's like it's crazy. So it's a hard decision more because like what I do is I see the potential in 10 years from now, like where it can be. And like even just like in 2 years from now, Eric could be at 10 million subscribers, and we will be at 10 million subscribers. It's like not a doubt in 2 years. And even like by the end of next year, that's like a very possible outcome. So not only like financially, it's like very interesting, but it's also like I get to meet a lot of really cool people. And so yeah, it's definitely a hard decision, but it's one that I don't have to make right now. So I'm not gonna not worry too much about it.
Yeah, it's definitely like just by becoming a content creator and a small one like myself, it's crazy the people I've gotten to talk to. I've gotten to talk to like my favorite creators, like Logan Paul, like Yes Theory, like people like that. It's just like a normal person like wouldn't talk to those, and like it's not just like a normal conversation. It's like a normally an hour-long conversation with them, like asking questions like a lot of people want to know and like stuff like that. It's crazy, and just getting their like insights on different things about YouTube and different stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think it's cool because like for them it's like 40 minutes out of their day, hour out of their day to get to talk to someone who is going to be a change maker in the future. But like even though it's only an hour for them, it like means so much to you. And so that investment for them is just like they see it pay off because in the future you're going to be a content creator and change maker. And even if like you don't necessarily want to do social media, you're just like going to be well equipped because you're going to get information from the top people in that industry. So it's like you're putting yourself in a great space, and it's like I just think it's really cool what you're doing, and just continue to do it.
Yeah, it definitely is fun. Like I don't see myself quitting the podcast anytime soon. I think it's something I will do for a long time. Like with all the different things I want to do. Like if you do a lot of different things, you'll meet a lot of interesting people along the way. And I feel like people normally wouldn't get to talk to those people. So like kind of sharing a conversation with them online would help so many people, not only me.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
Yeah. So now let's get into the topic of Airrack. How did you first find about Airrack? What was the first time you saw one of his videos? You know him before, like in person?
Yeah, I will be completely honest. I watched like a couple videos. I like saw that I was a big Logan Paul fan, so I watched when he bought the couch, and that was like pretty much it. But I was like not really sold at that time because I was like doing college and I was kind of like focused on my own thing. I wanted to be a content creator myself. I didn't know how much work it actually takes. So I knew of him, but I was in a community of like a bunch of entrepreneurs and creators out in LA, and so I got really close with them, and it just so happened that I looked up to Yes Theory like massively, like one of some of my biggest inspirations. And it like I ended up meeting them and like becoming friends with them, and like one of my mentors is one of their best friends, so like BC Cerna is my mentor, and so I like got close with them, ended up having a bunch of mutual friends with Zach, who is the Yes Theory and Airrack's manager. Sent a cold email to him, and like ended up being like the worst email like ever. Like it was just a really, really bad email, and
nothing is worse than like my first couple of emails I sent like get people.
It's like
you're horrible.
Your best, like your only impression is the email you send. And I sent this super long thing that like took probably like 3 minutes to read through. And luckily enough, I DM'd him on Instagram and I was like, hey, just sent you an email. And he saw like all of our mutual friends that we followed. He's like, I didn't get an email. Send it to here. Send it to this email. And I sent it and he invited me. He like said, here's do some of these projects that we're working on. So I like helped with those, did some research, and then he invited me into a meeting. This is Zach, the manager. And in the meeting, we roasted my email. So we completely destroyed my email and redid it. Or like he gave me tips on like what I should send instead. We had a great meeting, good energy between everybody, and I ended up including a joke in the email. And so that's the only reason I ended up getting the meeting, because his like one of his assistant managers, Kate, thought that the joke was funny, and they're like, yeah, you should invite him in for a meeting. And so one thing led to another, and I ended up sending the email that night back fully like updated and everything. And he like 2 weeks later, he's like, hey, we'll keep in contact. And 2 weeks later, he put me in a group chat with Eric and was like, hey, we're hiring for a producer role. and we'd love to have you try out for it. And so I did like a 14-day internship, and then my first video was the ice bike video, and that video was like practically, we talked about like making the impossible possible. It's like that video, like all the ice was melting on the lake, and so we had to get them there as soon as possible and get the bike made and everything, and ended up making that video happen. It turned into like one of our most viewed videos right now, and they hired me like a week later. So that's kind of how I met Eric and the whole story. They're probably missing stuff, but yeah, that's like the basic timeline.
Yeah, how I found Eric, it was like I got grounded because I was making YouTube videos with one of my friends instead of doing schoolwork.
Yeah.
And
it's a good time investment.
Yeah, so I still have my school iPad. So, and that was around the time I first watched like Stranger Things like a year ago. And my iPad was like full of like things to do with Stranger Things. And one of his first videos came up, but it wasn't like the week he uploaded. It was like he had done tons of other videos before. I watched like the second video, didn't really like it, so I just thought about him. And then when the Logan Paul couch thing came in, I was like, oh, I saw a video on my school iPad a while ago. Then I subscribed to him, and then and like the story of how Zach replied to my message. Because I wanted to get Airrack on my podcast, and I had no clue, but apparently my brother had played basketball with him, like
crazy,
a couple like weeks back, and I was like, what?
Yeah,
that was so funny.
Zach loves his basketball.
And then he also knew me from when I interviewed Amar. So yeah, I basically asked him about the Airrack thing, and then it was just crazy. And now he follows me back, I'm pretty sure. But yeah,
that's sweet.
Funny. It's just like it's so crazy that you're one message away from like these amazing people, and you never think that they would respond, and it's great.
Yeah, I think so kind of similarly to you, in a sense, where I started doing like investment in my future when I was in school. And so when I was a senior in high school, I started realizing like, all right, I already have I have a 4.0. I'm good. I'm going to college no matter what. I need to start investing in people. And that's like one of the biggest lessons that I've ever learned is invest in people, because the people are, it's like a piece of paper only opens a certain amount of doors, so like a degree, let's say, but like the people that you know open like way more doors than anything in the entire world, because you know someone who knows someone, they can get you onto something, and so, or like get you onto a job, get you a job or get you on set somewhere. So it's like, I think, in high school, I just started going to events and everything, and I started investing in the communities that these people were living in, and then I became a prominent figure in the community. So then people knew me, and then they were referring me, and so it was just like, I think invest in people, and you will see that it goes down from like one message away to like one person mentioning you to that, and they're like, oh yeah, I already know this guy because he's done X, Y, and Z in the community. So I think the biggest thing that I've learned in this industry and just in life in general is invest in people, because people make your life so much easier. If you know the right people, they make your life 10 times easier. Like if you need someone in a certain space, like to make a video happen, get to know that person as best as possible, and then you can start asking for favors in exchange for what you're doing. And so it's like, because think about it, like there's no way that you do the things that YouTubers do without knowing people. Like you don't just rent out a plane without knowing people or asking. Like that doesn't happen. And like not like a private jet, but like a literal like Boeing 737, like a massive plane. That doesn't happen without knowing people. So just invest in people. It's like the biggest tip that I've learned.
Yeah, it's like, so my biggest guests have came from like connections, like Ali Abdal, Matt, Amar, like Zach and Jay, and they're like, we randomly know people that know them without even noticing. So it's like crazy. Yeah, and then they know,
especially in the YouTube world, because it's so small. It's like it's so niche. Everybody knows everybody. Yeah,
and like you never know. Like let's say Ali Abdal knows someone I want to interview, so like I have Ali Abdal's phone number, so I'm gonna like one message away from like messaging him. Hey, can you help me get X on my podcast? Like that. So amazing and crazy.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So what I kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier, but I want you to go more in depth. What kind of stuff do you do for Airrack? Like, what does a producer role do?
Yeah, I'd like to define it as like my job changes every week, because it kind of does. Like there's things that I can do repeatedly, like sending emails and getting, first contacts to opportunities and everything. But again, like because of the space that we're in, the videos we do, my job changes every week. So I'll go from literally, burying them in a pit of pit sand and needing to find land to build this pit sand on, to having to find abandoned missile silos. And so those are like two completely different like things. They're like not related at all.
It's so random.
Yeah. So it's like finding the common ground of like, all right, what are the things that I can do to make this process easier and that are similar in them. So it's like, all right, well, I need to send the emails out. I need to do the research. So it's like a lot of my job is doing research on video ideas. So if they come to me and say, hey, we want to spend 50 hours in a nuclear missile bunker, I go, okay, well, how does that look like? Do you want like a nice one, like that's refurbished? Do you want like one that's abandoned? Do you want someone that's in the middle of nowhere? Like, what do you want? And so we work through a lot of the processes, like working with Max, who's our creative director, to like really pin down like what the video is going to look like. And then I just send out emails to everybody. I do a bunch of research and I kind of check in all the boxes and of like, all right, we need to make first contact with the people, then we need to move forward with them, then we need to figure out how much we're going to pay them, and then we need to coordinate what times and when it's going to happen. We need to coordinate if there's going to be a partnership involved. So like we paying less because we're doing a brand deal with you, like whatever that looks like. That's more like Zach's job, but I kind of help a little bit with that when it's working directly with like companies. And then so it's mostly just like organization, coordination, and scheduling. So doing all the pre-production involved in making sure that a video goes from idea to actual like reality of us filming it. That's kind of my job, is just making sure that the video becomes a reality. So taking this idea that like seems so foreign and then synthesizing it down to be this tangible thing that we can actually go do this in the real world.
How do you like find these people that have these things, like not an everyday person that you see on the street, like has a Boeing airplane? Like how do you find these people that have these things?
I mean, you'd be surprised how powerful Google is. I think people forget how accessible everything is. Everything that I do is achievable through going on your computer, typing it in, and then hitting enter. Like, it's that easy. And then sending out the email. Obviously, it helps when I can say like, hey, I'm the producer for YouTuber who has 3 million subscribers and we do 40 million monthly views. Like, that like definitely gets the foot in the door.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, fake it till you make it, man. Like for you, if you want to do reach outs, I would like create like a separate email. And I don't know if you should take this advice, but this is like maybe what I would do. Like, I would just hype yourself up through someone else, because it makes you look so professional. Like, create an email account that's like under your brother's name, right? Say, hi, my name is, what's your brother's name? Valtine.
Yes.
Okay. Say, hi, my name is Valtine. I'm a producer for the channel, whatever your channel name is. We're one of the top up and coming podcast channels on the platform. We've worked with X, Y, and Z, and then put in there in parentheses how many followers they have. And I've done interviews with these people. And I'm the youngest podcaster on the platform, right? And then it looks like someone else is doing it. It's just you sending the email, right? And then you get in contact and then say, I'll get you in direct contact with them and we'll do work like that. And then you do first call outs. Like, I mean, I think it's really just about like getting creative and like just acting as if like you're already there. Like, you like, not with ego, but like just act like just, it's, people love professionalism in this space because social media is a very unprofessional space. So like when I come in as a producer and they're like, yo, like these YouTubers are actually doing it professionally, and people respect it so much. So I would just just like hype yourself up, man. Like, that's what I would do.
I have like I have tons of email accounts I don't use, so I'm gonna turn one of those into my producer. And he email like tons of people, and the follower count thing is so helpful. Like, just saying, yes, Jamie, 7 million subscribers, Ali Abdal, 2 million. It just like helps so much, because it's like kind of like social proof. And like sometimes faking like how many subscribers you have helps so much. Like, and faking how many views you have, like saying I get 4 million views every month, even though you get like 1,000 every month. Even though it may seem bad, it's like then you have to do what you have to do. So
there's just a really funny moment there. This guy with the virtual reality headset was just like walking through this area, and he was just like bumping into a bunch of stuff. He's like had his headset on. He's like going through it. Metaverse, baby.
It's like more and more people are just gonna be walking around with.
It's pretty crazy.
VR headset. It's
pretty crazy.
What are your opinions on the Metaverse?
I think it's dope, dude. I bought the headset. I was very inspired. I think if it can be a tool to connect people in a way where, like, if it can connect people like physically, I think it would be super cool. Like, you can see it right there. It's just like, I think like just being able to, if it's a tool to be able to connect people in the physical world, I think it's really cool. And if it can, I think there's a lot of utility in it for like artists, because like a lot of my friends are artists and creators, and so if it can help them make a living, like, do it. Because a lot of the times, like, these artists and creatives like can't make a living because like nobody's gonna pay for it. And like now you're seeing something getting sold for like $70 million for a piece of $1,000 1,000, original art pieces. It's pretty spectacular, pretty special.
Yeah. Do you think like NFTs, like cryptocurrencies, like virtual clothes are here to stay, or do you think they'll be gone in like 5 years?
I think just kind of like how like Amazon stayed around. I think there's gonna be certain top dogs that were like first in the space that do it really, really well that are gonna stay around, but I don't really know. I'm not the most educated on it, but I think it's really cool. I'm inspired by it. I'm inspired by like the possibility of creating a world where more people can connect. I just get scared that it's gonna disconnect people so hard that they're not able to immerse into the actual world, which is like super fun. There's so much emotion there, which is like already not being tapped into because of like screens. And so it's like, yeah, just making sure that component is still there, like the physical interaction, because that's super important to like human beings like moving.
Yeah, like so many people are like, oh, NFTs will be gone in like 3 years, but they're definitely here to stay. If they're like selling for millions of dollars, like,
yeah,
I mean,
I think some of them can be fads, but I think that you're seeing the industry like really change and the infrastructure around it. And I think that's like super, like the two major companies just switched, like Facebook and Square just switched to like cryptocurrency based and like blockchain based companies, which is huge. To like Meta is like a almost like $1 trillion company now. And then Square was a like $150 billion company. It's crazy.
the person walked right behind you.
He's still gone. Metaverse is crazy, man. I don't even know how it's working outside. Dope.
Yeah.
But he's doing his thing.
It's just like, and it's just so funny because he literally ran past you like this with that headset. Yeah.
He's killing that.
I forgot what I was gonna say. So
let's refocus. Okay, now I'm here. I'm present.
So Airrack does some crazy things for his videos. What's the craziest thing you have done for one of Airrack's videos?
Personally, or
like personally, and then what they have had to do, like both. I'm definitely
the craziest thing that I've seen them do. I don't even know that. Like I think stranded in the middle of the ocean in the Bermuda Triangle. That was crazy. Like physically wise, like that was crazy. Like an Eric C stick. So he was on a raft for 24 hours straight, and then
oh my god,
Border Patrol got called on us, cops got called on us, and then Coast Guard got called on us. That was like probably like that one was crazy. They probably wouldn't agree with me, but that was crazy. I'm trying to think of other things.
In my opinion, can you actually survive quicksand video when Eric jumps from like a plane to the water? Like in my opinion, that's crazy. Like
yeah, that was fun. We planned that in so that entire video was planned in 18 hours. So it was like very quick turnaround because we needed to get a video out, and like it was planned in 18 hours, and then we got FAA clearance from the FAA to like be able to do the jump into the ocean. That took like 4 days to get like the clearance, but like it was all planned and organized within like basically 24 hours. But that's like way less risky. Like you would think it's super risky, but it's not. Like it's
because like after things like when you jump from like a high distance, like water turns like feels like concrete. So
yeah,
like I don't know, like because I've heard people say if you jump from that distance, you can like break your leg, stuff like that.
It was about like 50 feet, 60 feet, so it was pretty high.
Yeah, and that must have been so scary. Like I would not be able to do it.
Yeah, when he like surfaced out of the water, he just like you just see the helicopter like going on top of you, and like all the water is around you, like it's like being pushed into your face because like the blades are literally blowing water in your face, and he just comes up out of the water, and we have a safety boat there that I'm on, like getting the shot, and he's like, this is the most insane thing I've ever done in my life. It's like it's one of those things where it doesn't matter how much it costs to do. Like,
you have to do it.
If you can pay for it and make it happen, like do it. Like why not? You know?
Yeah. Was the Bermuda Triangle the craziest thing you think they've done, or is there something else that?
I don't know. That's something that like I would not want to put myself. We're planning a video right now that's pretty crazy. That we're gonna be filming. I would give a spoiler, but we haven't filmed it yet. But it's this is going to be it's gonna be posted at the end of the year. It's one of the most insane videos that any YouTuber's ever done, and it's
you can
like
say
it's
it,
gonna
and I'll bleep it out.
Okay, are you 100%?
Yes, I'll bleep it out. I won't say anything. I promise.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
Yeah, so that's happening in December. in like 2 weeks. So it's pretty nuts. It's like there's so much money and time and people going into it to like make sure that it's done in a safe way where like they don't die.
I wish them luck. Yeah, it's crazy.
How many subscribers do you have now?
I have 1,730 something. And then I have some other channels. I have one with 6,000 that I started in August, and I know it's crazy. Like the most views that I started in a day is 1 million in one day, which
on one of your videos?
Yeah. I can let me share my screen.
1 million in a day.
Shorts. It's crazy.
Is this Nicocast?
This is Nicocast is this.
Dang,
channel.
Bro, you're killing it. What the heck?
That's Nicocast, and this is another channel. So like, look, the peak of the channel, 1 million in this day, and then this was awesome. 800,000, 900,000, something like that. Like,
and you're monetizing everything too?
No, because it's shorts. But
dang,
that's so annoying. I only have 200 hours. But if this was like normal long, but you can imagine.
Crazy, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah, and this channel was crazy because it started as a joke. And like a bad day was like 40,000. And then like here in October, November, I kind of like took a break and like stopped uploading, which was a horrible mistake. Yeah. And then I picked it back up, and then it's just like started performing amazing again.
So stupid, man.
Yeah, but
social media is so stupid.
Yeah, but like still, from August to December, it has gotten 17 million views, which is crazy.
Congrats, dude.
And I've learned so much from YouTube just because of these like months about shorts, and yeah, it's crazy. Like shorts are amazing. They're like a cheat code. I want to ask this question. What are some of your personal goals in 1 year, 5 years, and 10 years? And what do you think are like some of like the Airrack brand goals from like 1 year, 5 years, and 10 years?
Yeah. Personal goals. I desire to like really evolve in 4 major areas of my life, and this is like I think this is something that all people should strive for, and as I come into an understanding of myself and others and how people interact with the world, how I interact with the world, it's like there's 4 main ways that we should evolve as human beings, and that's we should evolve physically, we should evolve mentally, we should evolve emotionally, and we should evolve spiritually, and so it's figuring out the best ways to evolve in those areas of my life, and then help facilitate that evolution in others as well. So it's like, how am I evolving physically? So it's like making sure that I'm taking care of my body through working out, eating well, etc. Different, just staying healthy, right? How am I evolving physically? Am I evolving mentally? So am I learning? Am I growing? Am I stretching myself outside my comfort zone to places where I like don't think I can go, but if I just push just a little bit more, I can, build a certain I think grit and like mental toughness is super important, especially like nowadays, because younger people have a lot less of that because our lives are exponentially easier with social media, and there's different challenges that are involved, but like our life is way easier now because we have access to everything. It also makes it on the same token a little bit more complex, but that's for another topic. So evolving physically, mentally, just like really learning, picking one thing to focus on, and then emotionally, like really developing how I interact with others, how I interact with myself, how I'm managing my emotions, whether that be anxiety or whatever arises, and just figuring out the best way to be in control of that. And then spiritually, so like getting educated on like religious pursuits, etc. Tapping into spirituality and really like what God that means to me, and creating my relationship with that. I think those are like ways that I want to evolve over the next 10 years. But as for specific goals in those, it's like really like, I think physically, it's like I want to look fit, like just for myself to have that confidence. I think mentally, it's like I really want to, one thing that like I really want to learn is Spanish. So it's, I think in like 5 years, I'd really love to be fluent at some, like partly fluent in Spanish. And then also like getting really good at like another task. Like having another goal that I'm like,
I'm in Cancun right now. I was born in Cancun though.
Oh, let's go. That's sweet.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've never been out of the country. That's also something that I really want to do. It's like travel. I'd love to travel. It's a big goal. I think emotionally, like I'd love to be like really in control, like master those emotions. So like I'm not like swayed so heavily by them.
Yeah.
And then spiritually, like I'd really like to like dive way deeper into religion and spirituality. Like that's something I desire. So those are like main goals for me. As for the channel, I'm not sure. I think it's like help it become the biggest channel possible, not necessarily in subscribers, but like as an impact. And, just connecting people and building a massive community of people that are emotionally engaged in what we're doing. Because I think that's a big part of like what a lot of people miss out on is like, how do you get people emotionally engaged in what you're building? Because then it feels like they have a piece of the pie. And if you can get people emotionally engaged, you're like, it's like a life hack for your channel, because people like want to continue to buy back into what you're doing. So yeah, I think just getting people emotionally engaged and building a community of people who are like have a piece of the pie in what we're building. So I think those are like main channel goals, and then like doing big swing events, kind of like the ping pong tournament. Like how are we what's the word? How are we
Going to top that? Like
no. How are we it's another word for evolving. How are we I can't think of it. No, I'll think of it. Innovating. How are we innovating on the platform, and like how are we doing it like no one else has done it before? So yeah, I think those are big channel goals as well. Yeah, I'm listening to the Will Smith autobiography, and he says be nice to the people. His grandma said something like, be nice to the people that you pass on your way up, because you're gonna have to pass them on your way down.
mm-hmm.
And so it's like always be kind and grateful for the people as you like are building, because if anything happens, those are the people that are going to catch you as you're like not like failing or succeeding and failing.
Yeah, thank you so much, Hayden, for coming on the podcast. This really means a lot.
Of course, dude.
Instagram will be in the description and stuff like that. Once again, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, and I'll see you next episode of the Nicocast.